Israel just launched an aggressive attack on Iran. This includes several sensitive sites in Tehran, in Natanz that include Iranian main nuclear facilities, and also other sensitive and important sites in western Iran. Israel also targeted several high-ranking individuals among Iranian military forces. This includes Sardar Salami, the commander of IRGC, and the chief of Iranian armed force, Sardar Bakeri, and two very high-ranking Iranian nuclear scientists. The scale of attack is unprecedented. So first question is the timing. Why Israel chose this time for such an attack? And second, what impact this attack will have on Iran-US nuclear negotiation? And third is what Iran response would be. Let's break it down. Israel chose very sensitive time. The attack came just 2 days before the sixth round of Iran-US negotiation that is supposed to be held in Oman in Muscat. Although there are some disagreement between the two parties, there have been so many progress as well in the last 5 rounds of negotiation. And still both parties have significant hope that they could reach to some kind of agreement to solve the nuclear fight, the nuclear disagreement between the two sides. So Israel attack on Tehran could hijack this progress and could stop the negotiation, could impact the negotiation, and could even take it to a more difficult pathway to reach an agreement between two sides. So Israel is aiming to stop this agreement and drag US into a war with Iran. We all know that from the history that Netanyahu was promoting for several wars in the region. From before 2003, Netanyahu was promoting and pushing US to go for war against Iraq, against Afghanistan, and also getting involved in unrest in Syria and Libya.
Are there any other nations that you would recommend that the United States launch preemptive attacks upon at this point?
The answer is categorically yes. The two nations that are vying, competing with each other, who will be the first to achieve nuclear weapons, is Iraq and Iran. A third nation, by the way, is Libya as well. Libya is, while no one is watching, under the cloak.
Coming from this hostile history, Netanyahu has been pushing as well in the last few years to drag US into a war against Iran. He's talking about it very publicly, and there is nothing to hide about. However, US in both administration, the previous administration and the current one, has been showing some level of deterrence and avoiding a conflict with Iran and trying to solve the disagreements via negotiation and talk. However, this not benefit Netanyahu's government that's suffering from internal crisis. Just yesterday, the Knesset reached to the point that there is a possibility to get dissolved and a new early election get held. And we know Netanyahu is facing serious corruption allegations and also serious failure in administration of the government and in security field as well. So if a war happened between Iran and US, or if Iran gets dragged into a war, that would support Netanyahu to continue the government and will bring all Israeli forces behind him to go forward with the war against Iran and defend the nation. Also, it will bring Western countries and especially US on the side of Israel to provide support against the attack and the war with Iran. So it seems that the timing is very smart timing for Benjamin Netanyahu. The attack, of course, would impact US-Iran nuclear negotiation. There is even a possibility that the new round of negotiation would not take place. The reason behind it is that Iran does not see American as a neutral and as an impartial party, especially that the U.S. President Donald Trump just 2 days ago said that there is a possibility Israel would attack Iran. Although he declared that U.S. would not participate, but he clearly said that U.S. has provided enough support for Israel, and if any clash happen with Iran, U.S. will continue supporting Israel against Iran.
But it looks like it's something that could very well happen.
In such circumstances, it's difficult to see that the new round of negotiation would take place. There is no a proper environment for that negotiation to be continued. And that's actually one of the points of this attack at this time. Netanyahu is actually wanted the negotiation to be stopped. It doesn't seem that the negotiation will stop permanently, but at least we're gonna have some pause. The attack also will take Iran to a much more firmer stance against U.S. in the negotiation, because U.S. is insisting on Iran to not enrich uranium inside the country. With this level of threat against Iran, Iran would not accept such proposal at all, and also Iran would not show any kind of tolerance and flexibility about its missile program. Iran just launched an experiment last week for a new missile with 2 tons warhead that could reach Israel and even after Israel. So this will provide more difficulties for negotiators in Muscat to go ahead and to finalize the negotiation between the two parties. In terms of response, Iran is between a rock and a hard place. It's so difficult for Iran to not respond because the level of attack is so high, and Iran should show some kind of strength. Otherwise, it will face 2 pressures domestically and internationally. Domestically, there will be pressure from 2 sides, from the opposition that wants the regime to be changed, and also from the supporters of the regime that wants the regime to remain strong and to take action for such a failure that happened in the country. So Iran, it seems to me that Iranian government would surely show some kind of strong response against this attack. In terms of international force, Iran is under pressure. The nuclear agency just yesterday issued a resolution against Iran after 20 years, condemning Iran and accusing Iran for undertaking illegal nuclear experiments inside the country.
When you accumulate and continue to accumulate, and you are the only country in the world that is doing something like this at a level which is very, very close to the level that you need to have a nuclear explosive device, then we cannot ignore it. It is not per se a forbidden activity, but we cannot ignore.
Iran, however, declined. But this resolution after 20 years is something big. And there is a possibility that in next meeting, the nuclear agency would refer Iran to Security Council, and that will activate the trigger mechanism, which means all the sanctions will come back and more sanction will be imposed on Iran. And there is also a possibility that Iran get dragged into Section 7 that would bring more difficult and dangerous consequences from international community against Iran. So if Iran would not flex muscle and show its strength, that will encourage its enemies in the international community to take a stronger action against Iran and take Iran to toward a pathway that would lead to some kind of regime change. We have already examples of Libya and Syria before us, and Iran could be next. In such circumstances, it is expected that Iran shows some kind of strong response. However, the response would not stop the negotiation and resolving the nuclear issue in a civil matter, but will show very strong reaction against Israel, probably in very smaller level against US as well, but it won't be some kind of closing the doors against the international community. So we're gonna have the response, and at the same time we're gonna have the Iranian efforts toward continuing the negotiation and hopefully getting to some kind of resolution with US and other international community forces. We will continue monitoring the situation in the region, and I will update you soon.